Hey everyone, welcome to the ranking. Here's my ranking of Doug Liman's movies. Yes, Doug Liman is a filmmaker that I'd say most people do know about, and yeah, I thought I'd do a ranking of all his movies because he did make a movie earlier this year that I did not review, but I did see it. It was a late seeing, so I didn't do a review of it, but I could finally talk about it in this ranking. And he's also coming out with a film in the next few months called American Made with Tom Cruise. So, you know what? This is a year for Doug Liman. So, you know what? To celebrate his movies this year, I thought I'd rank all of his films from my least favorite to my favorite. So yeah, let's get to it. Here's my ranking of all of Doug Liman's movies. Alright, coming in number 9 is the movie Jumper. Jumper is a very rushed, very mediocre, not good science fiction film. And yeah, I was actually really excited to see this movie because, again, the prequels disappointed us, but I was curious to see what Hayden Christensen would do with his career after the prequels, and he didn't do much. He didn't do a lot of good movies like Takers and Awake and other films. I think Shattered Glass is the only movie I actually saw a talented Hayden Christensen. But this one seemed pretty cool. He was a teleporter, it had Jamie Bell in it, Rachel Bilson, Samuel Jackson as a hunter and stuff. It looked pretty cool and looked really exciting. It was directed by Doug Liman, who did, like, my favorite movie. I don't want to spoil my number one, but still. He did a lot of great films, and I was really excited for this movie, and I got to see this movie opening day in theaters, and it's not that good. It's an 88-minute film, and there's about, like, 2.5 hours of story, and they just, like, trimmed it down to, like, an 88-minute film. The film's motto almost is like, let's skip the boring scenes, but honestly, they do that and they try to make the film just more exciting and action-packed. The film just keeps going and going and going. It's fast-paced, and it's fine. Like, yeah, you're never bored watching this movie, but it's so sloppily executed and so sloppily directed and so rushed. You don't get to know any of these characters. Just in the first, like, 10 minutes, you get to know the two leads, and that's it. And it's very rushed exposition. Like, you don't, and, like, you learn, like, little bits about his mother, but it's, like, little snippets and stuff. Like, they don't really give you enough to actually make you give a shit about these characters. They just give you, like, you know, half-assed exposition, and they're like, oh yeah, let's just get to the action, get to the teleporting and stuff, and that doesn't make an interesting movie. I want to enjoy these characters. I want to know more about these characters, make them intriguing and interesting and likable. These ones, most of the characters in this movie were very one-note characters. Hayden Christensen doesn't really give a bad performance, but he doesn't really give a good performance. That's the same with, like, everybody in this movie. There's not really any bad acting in this movie, but there's nothing really particularly good. There's not a lot of good action scenes. They're very generic and mediocre. There's even a scene when the character Griff and the main character David have to teleport all to these countries while they're chasing each other. It was still kind of dull and just kind of boring to watch. There's nothing really exciting about this movie. This movie tries to be a very fast-paced, exciting film, and it just comes off very generic and very forgettable. And yeah, not a good movie, and I think it's the weakest Doug Liman film. Coming number 8 is Getting In. Yes, Getting In is a very dark comedy with some mystery and some suspense in it. And yeah, this is Doug Liman's first film. This is his directorial debut. I'm pretty sure it is. Unless that Swingers is. I don't know, whatever. This is not a good movie, actually. It's not that great. It has a lot of good, talented people like Christy Swanson, Matthew Perry, Dave Chappelle, and stuff. It's just not that good. It's not that interesting. Again, it's very rushed and, like, really to the point, which doesn't make it very intriguing or all that interesting. The dark comedic elements don't really work. I didn't find this movie very funny. I didn't find these characters enjoyable or even the slightest bit likable, but I think that was the point. I didn't find it very realistic, and the bleakness just didn't work always for the tone. It tried to be silly at times in a campy way, then it tried to be very dark and bleak and realistic. It came off mostly inconsistent with this film, and yeah, the performances aren't all that bad. Like, Christy Swanson is trying, Dave Chappelle has a funny moment here and there, but it's a very disposable comedic film, and definitely not a good one. Coming number 7 is Fair Game. Fair Game is good. It's a pretty decent action, dramatic spy thriller. It has Sean Penn and Naomi Watts, and the only reason it's not as high on the list is because it's kind of forgettable. Like, I saw this movie when it first came out, and I didn't remember it until now. I had to make this ranking. Like, it has good storytelling in this film. There is some intense moments and some pretty good action and stuff. There's a lot of great atmosphere. Naomi Watts and Sean Penn both give phenomenal performances in this movie. And you do want to know how the movie's going to end, but again, it doesn't leave enough impact for a rewatchability factor, and it doesn't hook you in for a rewatch. Like, it's a good hour and 48-minute film that you will enjoy, like the performances and like the story, but it's not like a rewatchable film, and it's not a very memorable film. It's a film that you'll probably forget in a year or so. And yeah, maybe that's just me. I think a lot of people probably do really love this movie, and I definitely can see why. There's a lot of great things in it, but I found it a pretty forgettable film. It's a good film, but a little forgettable. Coming number 6 is Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Mr. and Mrs. Smith is a remake of the classic Mr. and Mrs. Smith, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. And I feel about this movie the same way I feel about the classic one. Neither one of them are really great films, but they're really fun and very enjoyable, and I have a real soft spot for both films. The classic is a classic, and it's Hitchcock, and this one does a more modernization of Mr. and Mrs. Smith with technology, the spy stuff, and the gears and stuff. There's a lot of very funny things in this film, and I think Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie were a great match for the two leads, because this is when they were start dating and stuff. They had genuine chemistry with each other. They both had charm and charisma in the film. I thought they were both very enjoyable. Brad Pitt slightly outstages her in the film, but he's a better actor than her. He's really good and enjoyable, but she does have her moments too, and it is a pretty fun, kick-ass film. I like to see this husband and wife, fight against each other, then they have to team up and take down each of their corporations. It's pretty cool and awesome, and yeah, Vince Vaughn is a supporting actor, a guy who lives with his mother, is pretty funny, and yeah, I enjoy this film. It is not perfect, it is not, like, amazing or anything, but it has good two lead performances, there's good comedy, good action, it's just a lot of fun to watch. Coming number 5 is the movie Go. Go is a movie I actually watched like 5-6 years ago. Only watched it once. I'll probably watch it again sometime in the future because I remember it being a very good film. I don't have a lot to say about it, but it is a good film. It's sort of like a coming-of-age story with a lot of dark comedy and dramatic elements. It's got Sarah Polley, Taye Diggs, Timothy Olyphant, Katie Holmes and stuff. A lot of big 90s stars, people who started the 90s, all played in this movie, and they were all really good. It has a good story and good characters. There's some realism in the film. There's a lot of intrigue, and yeah, it's actually an enjoyable film. It's not like the movie Getting In, where it's a very disposable comedic film with no funny elements to it. This is actually a very fresh and original film with a lot of good comedy, good characters, and good solid writing, and very solid direction by Doug Liman. So yeah, it is a good film. I probably should watch it again because it's been a long time, but I like this film. Coming number 4 is the movie The Wall. The Wall is the film that came out earlier this year that I couldn't get a chance to review because I saw it way too late and I didn't think there was a point for me to review it. But my thoughts and opinions is that it's a great film. This is a really good, enjoyable movie. It's about these two snipers in Iraq. Is that Iraq or Afghanistan? Whatever. They're somewhere. And basically, they're in the middle of the desert, and basically they find this this desert place. And it has Aaron Taylor Johnson and John Cena. And basically John Cena gets shot, and so does Aaron Taylor Johnson. He has to hide behind a wall from this sniper who's basically like talking to them through the radio and stuff, and basically taunting them and stuff. And it's about Aaron Taylor Johnson trying to save John Cena and also try to get them the hell out of there while this sniper is trying to kill them and stuff. And it's a really good, very intense war film, and I really loved this movie. I thought it was a really good movie with a lot of good tension and thrills, some pretty good comedic elements. Aaron Taylor Johnson is really great in this film. John Cena is even good. I don't even know who the actor is who plays the sniper. He's really good. It has a really intense ending that I actually did not see coming. It was really well done how the movie ends. Some people probably didn't like it, but I enjoyed the ending. And it's just an all-around great film. It's not, again, a flawless film, but it's a really good, really intense and very clever film. And yeah, I really liked it. Coming number 3 is Swingers. Swingers has Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau, two guys that are always they're always hilarious when they're together, except when it's Couples Retreat. That's a fucking terrible movie, but this is a great film. I love the movie Made, but Swingers is a much funnier, much clever film about two guys being swingers in Las Vegas, and it's just a great romp. It's well directed, it's got great quippy writing. Jon Favreau, Vince Vaughn are both hilarious, got great chemistry with each other. It's just an all-around hilarious, fun movie. Coming number 2 is Edge of Tomorrow. Edge of Tomorrow, or Live, Die, Repeat. I refuse to call it that. It's Edge of Tomorrow. That was the title. Edge of Tomorrow. Great film about a guy repeating the day all over again, over and over and over again. Does the source code, does the Groundhog Day, but in a really cool action sci-fi element, and it's so well done. I love Tom Cruise in this movie. I love Emily Blunt as that full metal bitch. So great, great premise, great story, amazing visuals, fantastic action sequences. It has really good characters, a lot of good comedy, has Bill Paxton as a drill sergeant. Can't get any better than that. It's just an awesome, awesome film. And my number one favorite Doug Liman movie is, of course, Bourne Identity. The Bourne Identity is such a good movie. It's debatable if it's the best Bourne movie. It's like really close with Bourne Ultimatum. I really love the Bourne Identity. I love the story about Jason Bourne, about this spy who got like amnesia and stuff. He's trying to figure out who he is, why he's so strong, why he's so smart, why is this group called Treadstone after him. So good, so good. Matt Damon's fantastic. Doug Liman's direction is so good. The action in this movie is so well done. Doug Liman and Paul Greengrass are probably the only filmmakers that know how to use shaky cam as a style. It is not a gimmick, and it's not headache or seizure reducing when you're watching the action scenes in the Bourne films. They're really stylistic, and you know what's going, and it feels more real, and you feel like you're in the fight with Matt Damon. The action in this movie is really well done. I love the characters. I love Chris Cooper in this film, Clive Owen. Matt Damon's fantastic. I forget the actress's name, but she's great, and she works great with Matt Damon. There's great car sequences. There's great fight sequences, hand-to-hand combat, gun sequences. There's just all-around a lot of great action in the film. It's a great story. It's got great characters, and it's just an all-around amazing action film, and hands down my favorite Doug Liman movie. So yeah, that was my ranking of all of Doug Liman's movies from my least favorite to my favorites. So in the comment section below, please tell me, what is your ranking of all of Doug Liman's movies from your least favorite to your favorite? Comment below, let me know. And as always for this video, please like, subscribe to this channel and join the dark side.